Ooh, university. University are those who are privileged. Now, you clicked on this video, you're right, my friend, but I can't speak behalf on STEM degrees. I only speak behalf on underneath, or maybe STEM, either way, but I cannot clarify. So, why did I said that? Why is for privilege? Now, in today's world, if you go to high school and you went to, or you go to college and you struggle to go to university, it's like a different level. Whether you did enormous, massively great results from your high school or your college, and when you go to university, it's a different species environment. Even though you have achieved those marks, those scores made you to enter the course that you wanted. But when you enter the course and you do those assessments, it's completely different because they were designed not, we like you've in the place that hasn't proper trained you up to enter university. Now, I don't care how smart you are. And at the end of the day, if you understand how university research structure and everything, how it goes, that's all it matters, right? But if you're coming from a government school, or what's the difference between government and private? And getting that ATA and going to that university and do the exact same assessment. You realize a lot of those who are coming from government schools or low private schools has not prepared them to go to university. Now, the reason why I'm saying this is because my sister, I try to talk about me and my sister, all right? I can't speak for everyone else. So my sister, who goes to one of the most prestigious high school, I think it's state government. It's government, but it's one of the top 10, top 5, actually top 5 or top 3. It's always been a top 3 government selective school, which is Mac Robertson Girls High School in Melbourne, Victoria. That's the highest prestigious. And I came from a government school. Now, whether I'm a learner or not, that's not what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to say is the difference between my learning than her. What she's learning is basically when she attends class, she's not learning. Basically, on her assessments and everything, is pretty much they literally prepared students at a very, very young age with a university structure. Like, pretty much you haven't learned much in classes, right? With each of the units. So what do? Is they pretty much, it's like a university lectures and tutorial. So they only teach them 5% and they figure out 95%. Now, what is the difference between that to my government school from my past is that, well, you don't have that sort of, teachers being spoon feeding you, but it wasn't towards the university side. It was more of a high school. A lot of high schools are like that, whether it's private or anything. They're not prepared or designed to go to that sort of. Now, obviously, if you're on grammar or prestigious school or prestigious government selective school, as I mentioned, one of them, like Mac Robertson, what is the difference between those schools comparison with the rest is that they literally prepare you from a very young age. When they do their assessment, when they do the research, they have to figure out on their own. So they taught them the skill at a very young age. Unlike the ones that, my government school is like. My government school wasn't taught to that sort of skill or burnt out. And of course, tutoring on the side, which is great. Usually university students tutoring kids, tutoring colleges as well is another way of form. That's why I said those who, when I talk about like highly selective or really prestigious school or grammar schools, usually you have to be privileged to get to that stage. So what? Even if you if you are a high IQ from a government school or private school, and if that school doesn't literally runs like how the university structure goes, then it's a bad luck. Now, I like to streaming. They don't allowed us to attach photos up here, but there was an article last year ago, and it's come. One of the students complained from my sister's school, which is Mark Robertson, and she says she one of the students who made it mainstream media, saying that they're coming from a poor background, but she managed to step into Mark Robertson, but she struggled to do homework and assessments. So when you hear that, basically what it's saying that those who are well off or wealthy parents who are able to spend money to take their kids, to keep up with their studies. That's the story behind. So that's why I said there's a huge fundamental privilege. The main reason why I made this video today is because I spoke to one of my classmates with my new course. Most of them are adult, matured. One of them who said, "Oh, daughter's doing Bachelor of Arts and she got international law studies, whatever it is, and she struggled. And maybe she finished 1 year, or she didn't last the 1 year. She got burned out and she dropped out." Now, and I told her, the mother, that university is more of those who has been going tutoring, being privileged, who understand the concepts, understand how it works. When they went to university, they know what's it like. She even said, her daughter has a high IQ as well. And I said to her, it's a government school, and it's a government school. So I can't speak behalf on facts or statistics to you guys because I don't have academia to back it up. But what I can say is, from my experience of what I'm seeing and my sister, these are sort of information it is. Now, if we look back in time, when university was first established, it was mainly for those who are privileged or high IQ, and it's usually 8% of the entire population, or I think less than that, who are able to enter that sort of opportunity to have that. Nowadays, I can't speak on behalf on your university in your country. I only speak on Australia. Is that, or maybe Western worlds are like that, is that now everyone can join in university straight from high school, whether you go from TAFE route, which is trade school route, colleges, and they work their way to go to university. And when they enter university, they know what's the difficulty level it gets to. That's why I said, what I don't like about this whole thing, this is based on privileged people who get the apple pie, whether they have high IQ. But when I mean by high IQ, I mean those who are high IQ of university structure, the nature, the assessment, the research. But whether this is a good thing or bad thing, in my eyes, I could see a huge backfall, and I only speak on Australian. Right? I see a huge backfall for people because if you have high intellectual privileged kids, I can't speak about STEM, but usually when they're uni graduates, when they pass through their degree and got graduate, and every single year they weave out the weak ones or those who are burnt out. The weak ones and the burnt out usually are the best fit for the job. The reason I'm saying this, they have the passion, they have the experience to know really what they want. But the high IQ and those who are really high up there tend to be book smart and just good at writing. And I can't speak for all industry. I'm speaking those who are, I can't even say on top of my head, but you kind of get the gist what I'm trying to say. But when you have that sort of culture, and only a handful of selective people who manage to pass through and get their degree and get their paper, most of them who gets into the workforce, who most of them will struggle, and where those who are F students or D students, I'm talking about the alphabetical. I'm not talking about H, D, or D here. Oh, okay. We'll talk about C students or the N student. Okay, C students. Okay, C and the P students. C is for credit and P for pass. C and pass students are the ones who are really great fit for certain jobs, and they know when they enter the industry, they're the great ones. But for C and P students and F and N is fail. These three students, they take even longer time, or adding more years to obtain their graduation. So in comparison with pre-religion high IQ. So when you have that, many of them, whether they're burnt out or just move on with their life and not getting back to it, this is a huge backfall for the country for going through this, because I'm only going to speak on my industry. I can't speak on everyone's industry, and I'm talking about social work. Those who has experienced, personal experience, extensive life experience, who really are made to fit for the job, are usually weaved out very soon. Usually N, C, or P. It's very difficult for them to keep it up. They put extra effort, and they know what the industry is like. For the D and the DHD category, it's just bringing up a different side. Many employers who, when they hire university graduates, they have, in comparison to those who coming from trade school, it's a comparison. And you see the huge difference. One is a books mark, another one is work experience, from an entry level all the way up to fighting for the same job position. So that's why I said to you guys, I see that the privileged people who manage, and I'm not going to include international students, we're going to talk about local students. Local students who are less likely to pass university in comparison to international students. That's another topic for another day. But what I'm trying to say is, if local students are struggle, and what I've showed you from the structure, it'll create a huge chaos for the country. Not only just they have student debts, but also they won't generate enough or unstable job to generate taxes. Now, when you have that, that kind of put a lot of pressure for the government. Because if you have skilled migrants or international students or international workers, they just come and go unless they get to the stage of getting permanent residency. So that's what I see. I don't know how this video, how you guys feel, but that's how I see it. And unfortunately, that's the saddest reality I know. University is not what it used to be. It's more of a business model at the moment. And that's another topic for another video.